everyone. I am Medini Padoshi of Standard 8, DAV Public School, Thane. Today I would like to express my thoughts on the topic Poetry brings happiness in our life. Do you agree? The early man used to converse through sign languages and drawings on the ground, cave walls and stones. With evolution, languages were developed and aided the man to do so. The intellectual growth also led to the development of different communication styles. One of the earliest of these was poetry. History shows us that poetry first evolved as an oral form than the written type. It was a memorization tool for history, nature and prevailing lifestyles that were passed on from one generation to the next. Different civilizations like the Incas and Mayas, Aryans and the Indus Valley all had their own versions, which were then followed by the modern poetic verses that we use today. Just like a flower can be of a particular type, fragrance, color and form, but all of them bring a smile on our face, similarly poetry can be from a particular origin and have a type and form, but all of them bring happiness in our life. How? Let me tell you the meaning of poetry. P for peace, O for optimism, E for educational tool, T for tackling our emotions, R for rejuvenation and Y for yearning to do more. P for peace. Poetry brings us peace, tranquility and calm. It is a very powerful medium which helps us to reduce our stress, manage our anxieties and to have a solitude with oneself, which is very important to connect with our own person. It also tells us to enjoy each and every moment and to live in the present. This is enunciated through poems like Living in the Now by Vanessa Hudgens and Dust of Snow by Robert Frost, among many others. O for optimism. All of us feel low at some point. It may be due to studies, family problems, friendship, health, etc. But it is important to get out of it. Poetry helps to bring back the smile on our face and to lift up our spirits. For example, when I feel low, Chand Ka Kurta by Ramdhari Singh Dinkar or The Dentist and the Crocodile by Roald Dahl always make me smile. Poetry is also used as a mass tool for motivation, be it the Charge of the Light Brigade by Tennyson or कोशिश करने वालों की हार नहीं होती by Sohan Lal Dwivedi. These poems motivate us not to quit and to keep moving on until we achieve our success. Poems also help to know about our past and legacies. Let me tell you, the Povada is a Maharashtrian style of poem. It tells us about the bravery of King Shivaji and his warriors. Listening and reading these poems tells us and motivates us to become just like them, brave, fearless and optimistic. E for educational tool. Poetry is very important and it is an educational tool for tiny tots. Remember our old videos of nursery shouting at the top of our lungs while reciting Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or Alu Kachalu Beta Kahan Gaye The? This, according to me, is the best example of poetry bringing happiness. Even in our higher standards, poetry does help us a lot. I'm sure all of you like to use some verses of famous poems for your speeches, essays or articles. It helps to bring out the emotions. Poetry is also very important for increasing our vocabulary. It also gives us morals just like stories do. For example, the poem Bad Friends by Kiniso Mogale tells us the fickleness of fake friends, or I Am Not by Josephine Auguste tells us to be wary of flatterers. T for tackling our emotions. It is said that each poem is based on an emotion. You can find many poems which are based on our emotions. Well, it would be very nice if our joys are doubled, if our sorrows are shared, if our grief is shared. Yes, Poetry goes deep into our souls. It mirrors the situation, which makes us feel that no, we are not alone. R for rejuvenation. Well, I have an example for this. While I was learning the poem for this month's recited contest, I could feel that I was creating some images from the words. As the poet was expressing that the season of summer made a green carpet on the earth, I could literally imagine myself walking on one. This really rejuvenated me. These kinds of poem helps us to link to the surroundings, which immediately charges us up. Isn't it amazing when this happens? Our spirits are moved. Why? For yearning to do more. Poetry makes us creative, and creative people are happy people. Why? That is because creative people do not have time to dwell on problems and issues. They are just looking for something new to create, something new to make, and they are happy in that. Because for creative minds, every single moment is not just a moment but an experience, and one experience leads to another. So, for the question, yes, poetry does bring happiness in our life. To conclude, I would like to quote by Robert Frost. Poetry is when an emotion has found thoughts and the thought has found words. So friends, let us welcome happiness by open arms, by creating poetry in ourselves, by including poems in our life. Thank you and have a nice day.